had a lot to say about grants and rhetoric, but I wanted to say just one more thing about grants. By now, you've probably read the article from the National Institutes of Health talking about grant writing. At first glance, it might seem like the stuff in that article doesn't exactly apply to the grants that you're writing. They talk about budgets and letters of support and biographical sketches, none of which you have to write for this assignment. However, I had you read this for two reasons. One, they do give a lot of great advice about the research plan. It might not all apply to your OUR grants, but it's also just good to know about writing grants in general. Second, I wanted you to see that grant writing is never one size fits all. Different granting institutions require all kinds of different things in their grant packages, and one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give you about applying to grants is this: read the instructions. Granting institutions want to give you their money. Well, maybe they don't want to give you specifically their money, but they want to give someone their money. So they tell you precisely what they want to know in order to decide if you're the one who gets the money. Every time you sit down to write a grant, you'll want to make sure you know what exactly they want. The list of things the National Institutes of Health or the National Science Foundation wants is going to be different than the list of things the Office of Undergraduate Research at UWF wants. It might not be very different, but it will be different, and every granting institution will want something different. That being said, they will all want some kind of plan for research, which is basically what the OUR project description is, a plan for research. That plan will usually include the things that the NIH reading mentions: background knowledge about the topic, the significance or importance of your project, and the specific aims of your project. What exactly do you want to do? What are your goals? Let's take a specific look at the OUR Project Awards CFP, or Call for Proposals, just to see what they're looking for. You don't have to provide all of these things for the assignment in class, but let's go over it all anyway. Here's what they say they want: a budget narrative, or a description of all costs of the project and how you'll pay for them. That includes things that this specific grant won't pay for and how those things do get paid for, like if you have other grants or other sources of funding. A project description, which is what you're going to write for this assignment. They want, and I'm reading this almost verbatim, a 1 to 2 page narrative including your project's objective, the scientific or creative methods to be employed, and the significance of your work to the field of knowledge in general, including background information with citations where appropriate. They are also kind enough to remind you, please remember that faculty reviewers of your proposal may be outside your department, and so acronyms and abbreviations should be defined or avoided. They also want a signed OUR Project Award Letter of Commitment, which is basically a guarantee from the student and faculty that they're going to do the research, that the faculty will provide mentorship for the student, and that OUR is not responsible for any expenses above and beyond the amount of the grant. And then if it's a group project, they want a list of all students on the project. So that's only 3 to 4 things, 3 to 4 separate parts, probably like 10 to 15 pages max for the whole grant, although the project description should be 1 to 2. But an NIH or an NSF grant might require 10 parts and be over 100 pages long, depending on how many people are on the project. Just some things to think on as you're writing this assignment, but also as you're probably preparing to write more grants in the future or for your career in STEM writing.